Heidi ho, my crafty friends. There you are. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. No, this isn't an oopsie. I thought I would give you a quick overview of what's at my fingertips today on my desk. And I'm going to have to kind of move you around a little bit. I was working and I thought, they might be interested to see what, chaos goes on around my desk. You may not. And if so, this video's not for you. So this is where I sit. This is my desk. So I'm going to lift you up and kind of give you a bird's eye view real quick. So this is my desk right here. This is my desk right here. And as you can see, it's still a mess, but we've been working on a journal. And then, so I'm going to have to move you around. So, and right now you can see I'm working on fussy cutting some of these smaller images. And there's some over here and some over here. And of course, you're not going to see me do these because that would just like bore you to tears. And then I'm going to bring you down a little bit so I can show you. So I can see what I'm moving you for. And then back here are my little Bibbly-Bop cabinets. And, over here are everything that you usually, see me reaching for. And those are my favorite little storage cabinets. So if you ever need anything, for storage that you can keep close at hand, I highly recommend these little acrylic cabinets. Because you can kind of configure them any way that you choose. And I really like these bigger ones because they can hold your washi tape. And I switch out my washi tape for the seasons because my box isn't really big. It's just a small little 12-inch by, I think it's a rectangular. So it's like, I think 8 by 12 or 8.5 by 11-inch box. And so it doesn't hold all of my washi tape. So in here, I keep my washi tape by season or sometimes even just by the book that I'm working on. I'll keep it in this larger drawer here. And then if I'm working on a specific journal, I can just pull it out and pull out the specific tapes that I want. Here, let me adjust you here. I can pull out the specific tapes that I want or strips that I want to work on and have them on the desk and not have to worry about the big box, getting up and down for the big box. Now, if there's something specific that I do want and I've forgotten it, I can get up and get it. And they wipe up really easy, as you can see on this one. There's some white acrylic paint from a project that we did, and I forgot to wipe it off or I didn't see it. It comes off really easy. So even if you do miss it, you can wipe it off. And now that I'm looking at them, I'm seeing some more little white spots. So I have some smaller ones, with little things, and then all the way up to the bigger ones here in the middle. And you can restack them and stack them, and they come in different things. So I do highly recommend those. And then over here is my little spinny that I use for the things that I use all the time. And you always see me grabbing that or my inks. And these are my pens that I use the most. These and these. And this is just the bottom of a water bottle. This that I have this in. This is just the bottom of an old, I think it's an old water bottle. And I just had my husband cut it off for me to keep my pens in. And it works great. It was the exact size that I needed. So I said, yep, that'll do it. And then over here, now I'm going to have to manipulate here a little bit. Hold on a second. I'm trying to figure out how I can do this and not make you crazy dizzy. Hold on. We'll go to the other side. No, there, I can do it. And then over here, there we go. over here is my box. This is my storage box right here that I have my other pens in. I don't use these as much as I used to because I don't do a lot of mixed media. Trying to keep this thing from flipping so it doesn't completely flip on you. And my scissors and my chompers over here. And that big box that you see back there, that's got my ribbon and my box of pockets in it. And that little thing with the flowers on it is a Scentsy scent thing. You know, it puts out scents when I'm back here. It smells really good. And then there's my little plaque that my husband got me. It says, "I love my Yorkie." And then up there, that's my hubby. And then up there's one of my lights. And then that big thing that you see right there, I'm going to try not to get it in your face. That's one of my other lights. And that is my favorite window right there in my craft room. It's actually my only window in my craft room. And I absolutely love working here in front of my window. And that big ring you see right there is my ring light that I film on all the time. Now, over here, this is the chaos. Here's the chaos. Now, over here, that big board right there that you see, that's a quilter's board, but I use that when I'm cutting big pieces of fabric for book covers. So that's what that is. And then when you flip it over, you can iron them. So when I'm ironing my fabric pieces, that's what I iron it on. And then that mess you see right there in the corner, I store all of my ephemera pieces. And I know I've showed you this, and you're going to see my head. Yes, that was my head. And these little sleeves right here. And then I can label them. And I have them all labeled. And they just have little Velcro tabs on them. And then as they empty, I know I need to either get cutting or order some more. Or if I didn't like it, you know, then I don't order them anymore. So I really do like these because I can see what's inside. And I keep them in alphabetical order over here in that little case. I just keep them all in alphabetical order, and then I know what I want. Now, standing up here in the corner next to it are all my little cutting boards like you saw sitting on my desk. I have a little one that's just an 8.5 by 11, and then I have a bigger square one. And in these plastic sleeves, I have my smaller pieces of cardstock and things like that. And then in this little box that's right here, I have my vintage pieces that I keep in there. And so when I want to put them in a book, I can, but I also don't lose them. Now, over here, that's that big cabinet right there. That has fabric and things like that. And I'm going to take you over there and show you all that craziness in just a minute. This is my other little box. I always, at the end of every journal, this box gets cleaned out. This box keeps the supplies in it for what the journal is at the time. So right now we're doing birds, butterflies, and bees. So I have things in here that would pertain to that, well, other than my ladybug, that I would use in that journal. And that's all that's in here. Things I might use in that journal. And then sitting in front of it are things I might use in that journal. This is the book block from that book. So I keep all of that stuff handy so that I can use it when I want to use it. Now, I'm going to slide you out of the cradle, so hold on a minute. I'm going to pause you. Hold on. Now, also right here, you see my drawers. In my drawers here, this is the one drawer I use most likely the most. And in here, I have my favorite stickers that you've seen me use many, many, many times. And these are the blades, for my cutter. But this drawer has my favorite things in it, and I keep them all sorted. 99% of the time I keep them sorted, but it's close at hand. And here is my messy cart, and there are my boys. That's PJ. He's saying, "Mom, come back." And here's some of the ephemera that I've been fussy cutting. But here is my cart, and right now it is a disaster area. Here is my cart, and after every journal, I straighten it up and I put it back in order. Sorry, that was my finger. But I keep it close to my workstation. So that is all within my work area. So it's all within hand's reach. You know, so I can get to it. Now, on this side, I also have one. Here are my cords. I try to keep my cords out of view of you guys. Right here by that little clip. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. This is my other favorite drawer. It's got some of my favorite little charms that I got out that we'll be using, but it has mainly, the main part of this drawer has, let me see if I can find them in here. These. Has my eyelets in it. Has all my larger supply of eyelets. Oops, I just threw one on the floor. Oh dear. And it has my brads. And it has my corners in it. And the book that we're working on will be getting a corner in it. So I have a lot of little things at my reach. And here's another look at my little box. Right here. So it has, you know, things within my reach. So my craft room is set up, you know, for me to be able to reach things. You know, I'm only 5'1", so I have to be able to reach things fairly well. And my cabinet over there. Now, this cabinet here, oh, I might as well show you because you always hear me talk about it. Up at that top right there, I don't know if it'll come in to focus. That top shelf, let me pull back a little bit. It might. These are books that I'll never take apart. They're from my personal library. Those boxes right there, those are my washi tape boxes. And see how they're small, but they have dividers in them, so you know, I can make the sections as big as I want, but they really don't hold a lot. And up on top, those are my personal pieces of mixed media art. Those are two of my storage boxes I use. One's ribbon and one's twines. Down here are my adhesives that you see me use all the time. Over here, those are journals that we work in, like the idea book and the calendar and things like that. And then there's the paper. All of that is paper. All of it. It's paper. I kid you not. It's paper. And I store them in 12 by 12 plastic sleeves. And in those sleeves are there's two packs. You know how you buy them by the packs. There's two of them in each one, and they face back to back so I can see what's in them. And it keeps them from getting dirty and from getting messy. And I know you're thinking, that's a lot of plastic. Well, it is, but I use them over and over and over again. And then when one's empty, I also use it to put together things for journals. So I can plan out a journal 2 months ahead of time, a journal project. And I can gather things, and sometimes I've done them 3 months ahead of time. I can start gathering things and put them in those packages. Let me show you what they look like. They look like this. And they just have Velcro or the little twisty ties on them. And I can put in here everything I need for a journal project. So I can put my paper, I can put the book cover, I can put the ribbon, I can put everything I want in here. And then down on the bottom in those boxes are other pre-made ephemera pieces, and those are magazines, Daphne's Diary magazines. Now, of course, you don't need to see my trash can, but this is my workstation here that I was just showing you. It's 6 feet long and 4 feet wide. You can see that's all the workspace I have. There's that little green mat. I don't have a lot of workspace. And that's my closet. That's a matching cabinet. This is my small chair that I'm always talking about, that sits next to me when I'm working. This is my small cabinet, and it holds only books with lace and ribbon in those storage bins. Those books right there between them are books that also won't ever get used. But those are books, those are book blocks down there that I take pages from if I need them. So that's that cabinet. Over here is my other workspace. Sorry if I made you dizzy on that turn, I forgot. This is my other workspace that you saw me working at earlier, but I missed my window, so I went back to the other one. And it has matching cabinets. They're identical workspaces, just one's on one wall and one's on the other. This cabinet up here is full of journals, and it's 12 inches deep. So there's journals that they're too deep. Like, they go too deep. You know, there's one here and one inside. Some of them are for sale and some of them aren't. Some of them are personal. So that's a lot of journals sitting up there. And then up there are my mini journals. So there. I just thought you all might be interested in what all the craziness is in this craft room. And back there are 2 more pieces of personal art. I thought you all might be interested in all the craziness that goes on in here. Just to see what's happening. Those are my colored pencils. And then the storage boxes in the corner hold all my markers. They hold all of them. So that I can see them. And they're labeled so I know which ones are which. And then that little square tub right there. Those are my alcohol markers. I don't use those very often because I'm not really good with alcohol markers, so I really don't use them a lot. And this is my fabric cabinet. Now my room is not really that big. It's a fairly small room. This is the fabric side here. And there's not a lot of fabric. I got rid of a lot of it when we redid this room. It used to be packed full both sides, but I got rid of a lot of it. This is my camera in here. I don't use it for filming. I use my phone. And up here is my mixed media and my watercolor paper. And then over here, this is the chaos. And this will be getting cleaned out next. This is my next clean out session. Over here are all the paints. There's acrylic paint, more acrylic paint, and then watercolors. Those are the brushes. And most likely there are acrylic paints that need thrown away. Down here is the storage, some storage. There's my punches. And then down here are laces, just laces. Laces and laces and laces. So, and these here are mini journals that I need to complete. Now, you guys have heard me talk about how I dry my flowers. Well, this is my little light that I use. And it's a magnifying light that I use when when I'm stitching. Well, underneath there, down here, all of those piles that you see, those are my dried flowers. See, there's paper on the floor. Those are my dried flower stacks down there. And that's how I stack them. And then my light just sits on top of them to keep them nice and flat. And they'll sit like that until I'm ready to use them. And then you'll see my ring light. This is my ring light that I film with. And it sits like this. Alrighty. So that's it. You've seen this little room. And you've seen how everything works. And in a minute, I'll take you back around. There's my door. It says, "Believe in yourself" on my little plaque. Okay, so I want to thank you all for joining me today on this quick little tour around my little tiny studio room. I don't know if it's a studio or just a messy room, but it's the place I call home for the day. And I'm going to finish cutting out my little fussy cuts so that we can play with them in a journal. And until I see you again in our next Ladybug Journals video, ta-ta for now.